Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome to another Supreme Commander Epic, and backed by popular demand, another Average Joe's, well, popular demand by some of you anyway. It's a mixed bag, just like the ratings and the talents of people showcased today, but that's part of the charm in my mind and everybody else's who enjoys this sort of content. And the best news is there's no news, so we can go straight to the action, which I think is going to take place on a brand new map as far as Guilecast is concerned. The more astute of you out there will be able to let me know if I've got that right in the comment section below. Let us know, guys, have I cast this one before or not? I think it's brand new, but as we've discerned from many an outing together, my memory is not what it used to be. Alright, that's enough of that. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready, so let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Ching. Ka-ching. See, it looks new to me, but this is Team 1 up here at the top anyway, and this is Team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for Team 1 up here at the top right, it's Erectimus Prime, going Seraphim in Hallyborange Orange. He's opened first land. To his left over here, in Elephantine Grey, it is ATP3, and he is going Cybrin, opening first land. Team member number 3 on a slightly lower portion of ground here, it's Flagon Sackett 10. Interesting name. We'll call him Flagon today. He's going Cybrin in lime green, opening first air. Interesting decision. Next up, team member number 4, sporting this season's very fashionable UES. UES? That's not a thing, Guile. There is no faction called UES. It's UEF, there he is, Hazard 65, opening first land, and he's not hanging about. He gets the land factory down, 1 mechs to get cracking on with, and he's going to let engineers that are currently building do all the rest of the work while he makes a move to mid. Super aggressive. I like and respect the hustle. Team member number 5 up here on what is undoubtedly the most defensible position for players on each team. This little raised plateau in the corner here, it's Yellow Fruct. And he is going Seraphim in Regal Purple, opening first air. And last but not least, moving from the most defensible to the least defensible, this poor chap down here on the western approaches here, Flyboy Boom, going UEF. Very sensible decision considering the position he's in, opening first air. And he is properly segregated from the rest of his teammates. Any assistance that he gets coming in from the east here to guard against any pushes down that left-hand side is going to have to come in through this bottleneck sandwiched between the plateau here and the pond, and of course cut off from everybody else by that little canyon there. Not ideal. Anyway, let's check out Team 2. I'm going to slow it down in case things kick off before we finished our introductions. That's never ideal. First for Team 1, in the bottom left-hand corner, it's Tetra going Seraphim, opening first land, second air in Electric Blue. Team member number 2, in Cyanide Cyan, it's Kramer, our first Aeon of the day, descending from his hillock, and he's gone first land. Team member number 3, also making a move out in Cybrin Ferrari Red, it's Zelda Fanboy. I want to refer to him as Zelda, but Zelda's a girl, and we know he's a boy, so there's all kinds of complexion there, but we'll have to refer to him as Zelda. I'm not saying all of that every time. I mean, with a bit of luck, he'll get gizzarded in the first 5 minutes, and then we won't have to refer to him at all. Anyway, he's gone first land, and Ferrari Red, as we've already said. Next up, in Baby Pink, also exiting the main base, it's Rageyes. I don't know why I want to say it like that, but it's Rageyes. Rageyes exiting his base, going UEF, and he's opened first land. Super defensible corner position. It's another UEF. It's Fiasco 21. Hopefully won't be making a fiasco today, and opening first and second air. And last but not least, in the super precarious position, it is the Duelist. There he is, going UEF, how very sensible, in Pontiff White, opening first and second land. So those are the introductions, my friends. Game quality at 92%, we're happy with that. That's pretty good balance. Top-rated players are Erectimus Prime up here, 1400, very almost at pro level as far as Guilecast is concerned. And for Team 2 down here, 1300 Tetra. So these two corner positions are the semi-pro, or at least the most pro in today's game. They're the ones who you are going to want to watch out for. They're the ones who each team is going to want to scalp at the first opportunity. And the Nubias of the Jewies, although I don't really like the Nubias. The Nubias of the Joes, it's Hazard 65 and Rageyes, both 600 rated players. Slightly more condensed, I think it's fair to say, ratings for Team 1, but they are just losing out by about 20 or so, or slightly less than that. Ranking points, it's 967 versus 983 between the two. First shots fired over here in the west between Flyboy Boom and Tetra. Flyboy Boom advancing all the way down here and has actually grabbed that mech, so I suspect he won't be holding on to that for long. And there are already Selens, if I've got that right, yep, pouring into this base of Flyboys. They're trying to hurriedly erect some T1 point defense to defend. They're going to lose an engineer or two, but those Selens clearly no match for a plasma cannon. Fortunately, he had the eco to spam that up nice and quickly. We had a little engineer drop to the center there from, I think, Flagon. I did see that on the minimap while I was chatting. And you can see what happened to them. They managed to get a radar and a couple of tracer anti-air turrets down, but then all of the build capacity was slaughtered. Meanwhile, down here, ACU's getting into it. It's ATP3 versus Zelda and Rag-Eyes, and that's not going to go well for him if he hangs about for too long. He has got support back here from Hazard, but Hazard not getting into it right now with his comm. He's trying to get some point defense online to help secure this position. How much damage can these two comms from Team 2 inflict before this goes online? Well, we're about to see as a couple of Mantis come in as well from Zelda to add some more injury to injury. No, that's not the saying, but I'm rebranding it. We'll see how it goes. ATP3 is down to around 5,000 HP. Has dropped back significantly to keep himself out of harm's way. Hazard completes the plasma cannon, but it's not going to last very long against the twin power of Rag-Eyes and Zelda. That gets battered down immediately, and there's more units inbound there from Zelda. We are getting some relief units being brought in as well, though, from ATP. But Kramer also showing up from the southwest, and I think this is probably the time where ATP and Hazard are going to have to drop back. They simply cannot repel firepower of that magnitude. ATP down to 4,400. Hazard also into the yellow now. 6,700 hit points there. Kramer continuing to press now as Hazard in full retreat. That's going to provide plenty of space here for Rag-Eyes and Zelda to finish off this forward land factory, which is still curiously producing units. It'll get one more tank off the conveyor belt there before it goes down by the looks of things, but the tank won't last very long. Rag-Eyes takes care of that. Gun upgrade over in the east on the way there for Erectimus Prime, almost 75% done there. A couple of Mantis finding its way into the main base sphere of influence there for ATP. One solitary Mantis pushing deeper into enemy territory and then stopping. He's taken a bit of a battering, though, down to just 111 hit points there. And in fact, Flyboy Boom has been pushed all the way back to his main base and has decided to get a T2 engineering suite and then cancels it after getting 55% roughly, I think it's fair to say. Answers in the comment section if I've got that right or wrong. I think he got to about 55% and then was forced to cancel that thanks to the inbound pressure from the Zooies of Tetra. That is a real nuisance. At this stage in the game, 6.5 minutes in or so, that would have been a very harsh eco penalty to lose all of those resources on cancelling that. Very nice work there from Team 2, who are also having success, continued success in the mid. Zelda getting a T2 upgrade on his comm. Kramer throwing down some T1 anti-air turrets to help secure the area against impending air attack. Look at this. An attempt by Erectimus Prime to throw down a naval factory in that little pond east of mid. That was thwarted, though. Naval factory got to about 2,000, just shy of 2,500 hit points complete out of 4,000, so just over halfway. It's a nice deny there. If you manage to get some navy, some people might be thinking, well, what's the point of putting a naval yard up in there? It's not like the boats can go very far. Yeah, but I mean, he's Seraphim. He can get those cruisers out with their devastating anti-air firepower and, of course, those outrageous long-range missiles. We can clear basically an exclusion zone, which would really cause problems for poor old Julius down here, who's actually pulled his comm out of the base now and is moving into this pond that we've just been speaking about. Where is the waypoint? Hard to tell. Looks like he's coming up here. Might be looking to deny this naval yard. Having just been speaking about it, he probably recognizes the threat for himself. And is moving in to kill it off. Needs to get there fast, though. It's going to complete either way. He can still reclaim it, though. We'll probably want to get rid of these engineers first. But he hasn't got a lot of time because Erectimus Prime, who has both a gun upgrade and what is that? I do forget the icon sometimes of some of the old upgrades there. It's the restoration field, so he's healing the units around him, friendly units, giving them extra support on that side of things, and now pushing this main base. Down goes the shield gen. In comes a Janus over the top to help support. That unit in from Fiasco in the bottom right corner, but the duelist does complete his push up here, manages to kill off that naval yard, importantly. So a small victory on that front. Can he stall this attack, though? And can he hold on to that T2 reactor? He won't want to lose it. No, he can't. Too much pressure from the light artillery pieces here. I think Erectimus Prime feels like he's done enough damage. Doesn't want to overextend, so he's going to back on out. Stealth upgrade on the way for ATP3. 50% done there, but he's taking a lot of further fire from Kramer. But he's got the gun upgrade, so is able to attack at range. And as a result, manages to kill those off. He really doesn't want to have to cancel this upgrade. 90%. I think he's going to be able to complete without any trouble there. And that will help him in his combat in the mid. Or at least help him in repelling the forward pressure through the mid from Team 2, which is quite extensive. Zelda dropping into the red there. And into the red once again as he takes some fire from circling Notha fighter bombers from Yellow Fruit. Zelda gets himself under the waves for a little bit of safety. That Cybercom should rep himself up in short order. No problems there. But those fighter bombers are going to switch on over to Kramer now, who's just started a T2 upgrade. He's routed to the spot. Oh, my word! He cancelled T2, or maybe it just got cancelled, actually, because he died. I think it still gives you the notification there. Wow, just wow. Goodness gracious me. So the first team to lose a player, that would be Team 2. And that's a little bit of pressure off mid there for Team 1, who are finding it very, very difficult indeed to contend with all of that. ATP3 advancing once again back into the void left by Kramer's demise. Hello, tac missiles flying across the mid, though, going straight after the resourcing options of Hazard. They've already taken down one T2 mechs by the looks of things, and they're about to hit another. Hazard dropping down to 25 mass per tick generation. Zelda emerges from the pond, throws down a couple of Cerberus turrets, so he's got the T2 engineering suite on board that commander now. And that's going to cause some problems for the inbound attack from ATP3. They're all lining up nicely in single file for those Cerberus turrets. And of course running into some pressure from Ryguy's T1 spam that's lurking in the mid. ATP3 with his comm in the area as well. Just got a cheeky rank in vet there. Is he going to stick around to try and take down these Cerberus turrets? Zelda gets a shield gen in place to give him a little bit of protection, but with that stinger nearby and the comm, ATP could wait it out, but he doesn't like the looks of it just as it collapses. If he'd stuck around for a moment longer, he could have killed off that first Cerberus turret at least. But of course, I guess having just seen a comm go down in the center, that does sometimes convince people to play just a little bit more cautiously. I don't know where that tac missile came from. It seemed to come over the mid here. Perhaps it's already been destroyed. This might be a nice time to have a look at general eco situation. Team 1 ahead by about 1.5k in total mass and crude. At this stage, 13 minutes in, That is what you would call neck and neck, but Zelda gets himself sniped as well. And it's again yellow fruit with the Notha fighter bomber play that takes out another player from Team 2. They go 2 men down now inside 15 minutes into the game. This is not ideal if you're rooting for Team 2. Rectimus Prime continuing to apply pressure over in the east, but look at this nasty little battery of triads over here. Duelist with the T2 engineering suite and a bunch of T2 engineers to boot, getting the defensive emplacements sorted. That's basically your whole play over here. Hold and don't die, but this could be a nice little counter kill here as the Janus come in over the top from Fiasco. Didn't quite dish out the damage I was expecting, but he has got 14,400 base HP, so that bar going to move ever so slightly less than it would on an unupgraded com. All of those Janus, though, shot down on the first pass. They don't get a second attempt at it. This is a lovely little run by, though, from Tetra. Manages to sneak a whole load of Zui light artillery into the main base of Hazard 65, and this is going to unleash untold devastation on all of the manufacturing and resource production facilities for our blue UEF here on Team 1. Ouch. All of the core mass down and deaded. Lots of build capacity going down. Down goes the air factory. This is a royal roasting. And this is just what Team 2 needed after the loss of 2 players in the mid. Fortunately for them, there were no groups of units on the ground that could rush in to stop this. And look at the devastation. Might as well stick around with a couple of units to finish off that land factory. Just needs a few more volleys. Definitely wants to kill the T2 P-Gen. Down that goes. Looks like they're trying, or thinking about trying to get in the main base over here. They're not going to make it because of the triad down here. They do manage to scalp another T2 mechs, and that puts, where is he? Hazard 65 at a very woeful 1 mass per tick generation. You can see it fluctuating upwards there as he gets some reclaim in from engineers down here, but he is generating 1 mass per tick. That is coming in from his ACU and nowhere else. All mass extractors down and out. In comes another attack now. This time on the front line. No run by attempt here. No point. There's nothing left to shoot in the backfield, really. But there are some defenses in place. Triad deals with that. Shield keeps all of the inbound fire out, so no casualties sustained there for Team 1 in that little assault. And we mentioned the naval yard early doors. A lot's happened since. We haven't been able to talk about it. In the meantime, we got to T2 here now. T2 naval headquarters, and we already had the dreaded Seraphim cruiser that we were talking about. That is only going to get worse for Team 2. The more of those that arrive in that pond, to give you an idea of everything that it can reach. It's not even down here at the coastline, and it can basically hit everything inside the duelist base and can cause all sorts of problems over here as well. Major push against duelist. Over on the right, he's got some support, some gunship support in from Fiasco. Duelist backing up. He's got a few triads, as we've mentioned up front. The shield gen has gone, though. And the gunships take some fire from fighters. We've also got action kicking off against ATP-3. We're going to have to go to split screen to keep an eye on these 2 different theaters. 2 ACUs potentially in trouble. ATP-3 microing well to evade the inbound artillery fire, and in come fighter bombers, this time from Tetra. Gemini air superiority fighters scramble to defend, but there's a second wave inbound. Oh, ATP into the red, down to 1,000 hit points, and then he goes down. And the duelist also in trouble once again from fighter bombers from Yellow Fruit. It's all about the fighter bombers in this game. Bosh! His base was under severe pressure anyway, but 1 for 1. 2 ACUs dying in very close chronological order to one another. But that causes all sorts of problems for Team 2. Yes, they've got another player out of the mid, but that gives Erectimus Prime free reign now to try and seal off this position here. And it's a hard one to get back, as we've said, with this canyon over here. This is actually not a terribly defensible position, despite being very deep into enemy territory. He can get in now. There's a lot of mass to scoop. If he can seal this off, which he's going to do nicely, considering he's got all of this in here from the pond. You can see Rye Guy is desperately trying to hold him at bay, prevent him from expanding out into this position, but most of this unit comp here is just T1 spam. Lobos can just about reach one of the cruisers. Looks like they're going to bag one of them. Erectinus needs to prioritize those with some of the cruisers ASAP. Ravager put together on the top. Got a few kills to hold that expansion at bay from Erectimus. He's now switched up to a buzzkill to try and keep out those inbound cruise missiles from the pond, having lost that Ravager. But wow, what a passage of play. And look at this, an attempt by Tetra to prevent Erectimus from expanding into this position. He's unloading a load of build capacity down here. 3 T2 engineers and 4 T1s. He needs to get straight in here and start throwing down defenses. Land factory first, perhaps, and then work on defenses. Throw everything he can into it, because you just don't want the 1400 rated player with free reign on this portion of the map and able to push with everything he's got into the mid. That could possibly be the final nail in the coffin of this game. A couple of clink hammers over here from Flyboy Boom, who's looking in a reasonably comfortable situation, considering the demise of his mirror on the opposite side of the map a few moments ago. Got himself set up with lots of defenses. And as a result, Tetra not even remotely considering a push in that direction for the time being, it would seem. Hasn't even got the units to do that, really. He is all about the eco. There's very little in the way of offensive units on the way, or on the map there for Tetra. He's got 5 Notha fighter bombers, and that is it. But every single comm so far, that is 4 comm kills, I believe, has gone down to a fighter bomber attack. And featuring heavily the Notha fighter bomber from the Seraphim as well. Funny the way that's worked out, but it is the way of the game. Excuse me. Checking in on the corner positions and what they're producing. We are up to T3 tech there for Fiasco, and he's currently pumping out broadswords. How does that compare? Still very much at T2, although on the way towards T3, 50% or so complete. We've already seen Gemini's, ASF's floating around here for Flagon. And we also have ASFs as well from Fiasco. Oh, tactical missile upgrade on the way for Rye Guys. Typically, just the forerunner to the Billy Nuke as well. Tactical missile or tactical nuclear warhead on the UEF ACU. We will see if he goes in that direction. And interestingly enough, those engineers died a death. I'm not sure where they are, but probably got taken out by cruise attack missile fire. That's a real nuisance for Team 1. They managed to get a shield up and one buzz kill, which is going to afford a small, very small amount of protection to this position, or I'd say at least to this position down here. And having pushed through the mid and encountering very little opposition on the ground, Erectimus continues to surge forward with some T2 and T1 units, but they are going to get slowly taken out, I think, by these fighter bombers. ASF's now out as well for Tetra, so he's also transitioned to Tech 3 Air. But it is a 3 versus 5 now in favor of Team 1. And those broadswords going to absolutely tear the field up against Erectimus. And he knows it, which is why he backs up and repositions. Erectimus not having made another play for this position down here. If you were to get in, throw down some SAMs and what have you, lots of flak, you really could make a good play at this position over in the right. 1 or 2 engineers gifted over to teammates. They don't seem to be using them right now. Flyboy still content to sit in his base. He's fully stacked up his comm there. That's a chunky looking commander. And finally, the tactical missiles break through. Next target will be the shield gen. And then it will be very hard for them to set up shop over here. Team 2 that being. So checking back in on eco side of things, Team 1 pulling vastly ahead in total eco, 480 to 427k. That is a pretty sizable difference. And in generated eco, they are up quite a consistent margin. Certainly, by the looks of things, up over 100 mass per tick. So that gulf will continue to grow unless something changes substantially in the near future. Another push from Team 2 to harass the mid, and they've got a little bit of broadsword support, but they've got to stay away from those cruisers in the pond. This was actually a very nice play from Erectimus. You can see that blue line, that blue circle, that is the defensive capability, the aerial defensive capability of the cruiser. And that really does force Team 2 to take a wide berth and limit what they can do with gunships in the mid. Let's have a quick ASF count as well while we've got time to do so. So 30 ASFs in operation there for Flagon. I'm not seeing any on Team 1 for anybody else. Let's check out Team 2 now. That's 2 different players with decent air forces to speak of. 16 ASFs on the field there for Tetra, and Fiasco at 19. So a modest advantage, but that advantage split between 2 players. And a potential testing of Hazard's front line. Hazard, who has recovered somewhat from that earlier attack, still putting out a very measly 50 to 60 generated mass. A couple of siege tanks get in range of the main shield, and they're going to take it down, but there's a lot of inbound fire. Three to four triads down, attack missile launcher down, a shield gen down. Not a terrible little attack. Wouldn't have hurt to keep the micro going. And alas, it wasn't to be. Flyboy Boom moving out to the west of his base to start on what looks like a bit of a mass fab farm, trying to increase his economic prowess. Hazard now without shield. And broadsword gunships heading his way from Fiasco. He's already running screen with his own air superiority fighters. The broadswords move straight in to hit on Hazard. In comes Gemini with his ASFs, but just look at the damage they put out. And Hazard goes down, and he might even save a couple of his broadswords, although they stick around to engage Erectimus's Othams over here. Erectimus brings in his antiquated T1 fighters to try and counter. They'll get the job done, but they'll do it slowly. So down goes Hazard, arguably the least important player, though, at the current time on Team 1. After that hit earlier from Tetra, he hadn't quite recovered, but look at this. And Ithota marching straight towards Flyboy Boom. He's got some point defense, but not an awful lot. Flyboy Boom does have personal shield. He's got 15,000 base HP and then 19,000 shield hit points on top of that. There is a Ravager in here. Flyboy Boom potentially walking out to meet his doom. He's being brave. He's going to try and overcharge. But that's a lot of hit points to chew through, and he hasn't got a lot. It won't take long for the experimental to finish him off, I don't think. Nice bit of micro keeps him alive. Ravager still doing its work. It's going to be very close, but not close enough. Flyboy Boom bows out at just over half an hour into the game. Nice play from Tetra. Sneaks an experimental up the western approaches and finishes it off in one fell swoop. Wow. So suddenly it becomes a 3v3 with the demise of Hazard and Flyboy in very quick succession. I mean, I think it's fair to say neither of those players was doing an awful lot. Flyboy tired of being put on Yellow Fruit's team. Yellow Fruit, who incidentally has all of the com kills, I think, from Team 2. But now the petty recriminations begin in chat nonetheless. Gets a little bit salty today. Did actually intend to turn it off, but it's a mixed bag. Some of you enjoy it, I know. Curious drop of Zuis over to that eastern position of the duelists. That's immediately going to attract fire from the cruisers in the pond. Doesn't look like they're going to last too long. And now we have an experimental out from Rye Guys, who is pushing up towards that pond now with the Fat Boy. And if he can clear that out, I would say the momentum will have firmly shifted in favor of Team 2. That is potentially a massive winner, but he's got to try and keep it alive. As long as he keeps it on the move, it's going to be hard for those cruisers to hit. Erectimus is going to have to get microing his vessels, or he's going to lose an awful lot here. He's going to want to move his land forces to try and persuade that fat boy to drop back. Rygey's is going to respond. His is all T2 though. Fat boy will reacquire targets on the land as it hangs a Louis. Shield taking the impacts of some of those missiles though as he pulls a U-turn. Those Othams are going to tear those T1 and T2 units apart. Tetra is in play over here as well, but he hasn't got a lot in the way of firepower either. Only T3 units here are lightning tanks. Broadswords waiting for an opportunity. Broadswords. Love a bit of broadsword action. Google Bardic Broadcasts Hero Quest and you'll see what I mean. But look at that. Ithota out of nowhere struts out of the pond and takes down the fat boy and eliminates the threat straight away. The broadswords move straight in to kill the Ithota. Erectimus brings in ASFs to try and run interference. We do, by the looks of things, have a Billy nuke. We saw Rygey's upgrading one earlier. He's going to launch that defensively. I'm not sure how great an idea that is, considering it's almost dead from the broadswords, and the tactical nuke is going to take the broadswords out. Or most of them. Hard to tell underneath the nuclear fire, but yes, they've all been cremated. It did take care of the experimental, but it was going to go down anyway to the broadsword's fire. I think that was a decision he didn't need to take. He could have left Fiasco to that. But nonetheless, it helped keep his forward factories safe. And more importantly, his resourcing options over here. Getting to work on another fat boy now. 3,200 hit points done there. And look at this. So Erectimus Prime never managed to get established down here. In fact, if anything, we've got a couple of engineers now belonging to Fiasco who have set up a mass extractor. Looks like they threw down a couple of land factories as well, but they've probably gotten taken out by cruisers here. That's just on the edge of their range. But Tetra has managed to move in on Flyboy's old base, completely uncontested. Ithota keeping his distance, using the ranged advantage as best he can. Otham's running out of steam for Erectimus, are going to have to withdraw. This is good defensive work so far from Team 2. Bottling up this latest attack. Do we have another Ithota on the way soon? Yeah, not too long. 60,000 out of 67,000 complete. And that Ithota continuing to storm through to the mid, where Erectimus Prime really has run out of space. That Ithota just too fast. A lot of those Gemini ASFs now bingo on fuel. It's going to severely reduce their combat capabilities. Now this is really interesting. There's not much on the ground to prevent this push now. That Ithota looking like it's making a beeline straight up towards Flagon Sackett's base. What have we got on the ground to defend? Well, there's a massive bank of Cerberus turrets in here. And there's more going up all the time. Lots of hives helping to facilitate the production of those. But it's going to cause some damage at least. If not tear right the way through. This needs to focus the guns on the challenge ahead though. Shields holding, but not for much longer. Down goes the P-Gen. Chain reaction takes a lot of structures out with it. And just 3 Cerberus turrets remain. And importantly for this assault, that Ithota still on 44,000 hit points. 3 ranks of vet under its belt, so 2 more potentially on the cards, and he's almost at the next one. About to get another chunk of HP very soon, and there's no way out by the looks of things for Flagon, who just stands there and eats it. Like a female dog in heat. Down he goes, and suddenly, for the first time in this game, Team 2 go ahead in terms of players. It's Ithota on Ithota now, and the advantage in hit points is well with Erectimus, who gets in a shield gen to block a shot or two. There is also Otham pressure, though, coming in from Tetra, from the west, and an awful lot of Zui spam. He needs to get on the move to avoid that. Can he get a rank and vet? No, he can't. Fighter bombers finish him off with a quick bombing run over the top. Hello, what have we got here? Fiasco brings in broadswords for an attack, going for it all straight after Erectimus's comm. Some of them getting inside the shield and being able to apply damage, but defending ASF's doing a good job. They're going to kill off those and keep Erectimus alive with 7,400 to 500 hit points left. Close, but not good enough. Second Fat Boy out. Oh, but taking battleship fire now, as there's a battleship on the scene in this pond. Took down a few vessels, but now has to contend with counter artillery from the battleship. And with his shield gone, he needs to duke a hell of a lot better than Rickon did. And he's not managing it right now. Oh! Oh my goodness. Wow. He's alive. Just 1,300 hit points remaining. Otham's drifting across the front from Erectimus, who now has to try and secure this position up here. He's taken a lot of flack for his play so far, Yellow Fruit, but he has expanded down here now into what was Hazard's old position. But I mean, he's been handling air, and like we said earlier, he has been the one who has scalped, I think, all of the players. Yeah, they've only lost 3. He has gotten all 3 kills from Team 2. Lots of mexes still to be picked up, though. And he's got the build capacity to do it. I don't know why he doesn't get on with it. Working on Ithotas instead. 41 minutes gone, and this game has definitely drifted in favor of Team 2 now. Fat Boy's still alive, as we saw earlier. He's back up to about 3,000 HP now, and a new one under construction at the main base. Ooh, bit of artillery, why not? T3 static under construction for Fiasco. And look at that, setting up shop with a nasty little firebase on the ridge there, which will help protect him, but not only him, of course, will help protect Rye guys down here. Those Ravagers with a nice long range on them. See that kill zone. Any units attacking this base are going to want to approach from this edge. Broadsides hovering over the western pond. Looking like they might make a play on this little plateau up here. But another Ithota out from Tetra, threatening now the new base belonging to Yellow Fruit. But Yellow Fruit has his own Ithota now, and he's got a lot of support commanders in here. And it hasn't pushed that way anyway. It moves east, runs into another Ithota of Erectimus Prime, and down that goes. Cheeky little contingent of strap bombers were looking to drop their payloads on the Ithota of Tetras, but as it happens, they were unnecessary. And now, for I think the first time we've seen in the game, Yellow Fruit on the move with a bit of ground pressure. Lots of support commanders in here. Some of them upgraded, some of them not. Got shields. And they are vaccinated pretty heavily against air attack. Check out all of these lightning tanks. Shield coverage as well. That's not bad unit comp. But they want to keep that Ithota close to the support commanders, that's for sure. This next T1 run-by is going to get slaughtered as it tries to push up. Although a couple of Zuis might make it up here. Oh! But we've also got artillery by the looks of things. Operational now from Tetra, and that changes everything. So now there is real time limits on this thing. Team 1 going to get locked into massive bouts of shield production to try and keep their base alive. They need some kind of solid win on the ground ASAP. Oh, you don't want that. Don't lead with your lightning tanks. Yellow Fruit getting a little bit drawn out of position there. And some T2 pillars from Rye guys take advantage and open up on them. Support commanders immediately get to work on a mini defensive position. Throws down some T1 and T2 point defense. Broadswords still very much the order of the day. A long way off completion of that Duke. It's only at about 4,300 HP. Check in on the eco side of things, and Team 1 massively ahead, 1.43 million versus 1.26. Remember though, they will have been able to scoop a lot of mass which they had already harvested, which will be inflating those figures. But Zuis did manage to get up here. I can't believe it. They took out all of the mexes up here belonging to Erectimus Prime. Don't know how they managed it, but great play nonetheless. But Yellow Fruit looking like he's poised to oust Tetra from Flyboy Boom's old starting location. Could have done with dropping maybe just one support commander back here to capture these T3 mexes. Maybe build some defenses. But Tetra way out in front on eco. Look at that, 478. Next highest is Yellow Fruit on 364. Erectus Prime must be power locked. He is massively power locked because he's working on a teleporter, because his base is getting absolutely peppered by long-range T3 artillery fire. Teleporter at 45% done. Deaths of support commanders had me thinking I'd missed something there. 47 minutes and a massive attack against Tetra in the bottom left-hand corner is underway. We do have an Ithota for each side. Support commanders, some of them very badly damaged and dwindling in number now compared to where we were a while ago. Tetra completes another experimental in the main base though. And look at all the build capacity flooding back towards the main base to throw down defenses. T1 bombers harassing those support commanders. Erectimus Prime has double gun upgrade, has the teleporter, he's working more shield coverage. Nuclear explosion in the middle is another Billy nuke, so we haven't lost anybody there. But this attack finally running out of steam. And the only Ithotas left are the defending Ithotas belonging to Tetra. Just 4 support commanders remaining. Down to 3, then 2. And that, as they say, for that attack, is that. Still more mexes to be taken advantage of. Little strap bomber lurking over the top there from Tetra. Gets picked off. Oh, is he gone? He's gone! And he's going after Tetra and he's going to get him. But can he get out again? That's the question. This could be absolutely huge. He's eating fire from overhead. But no, he does not last at all. The Ithotas come back and pay a visit. So the 2 top-rated players take each other out of the game. And now it's just Purple, who has not done a great deal on the ground in this game. He has taken out everybody but Tetra on Team 2 from air attacks. But there's not a great deal happening. So I am going to bump this up to T3. Because now will follow, undoubtedly, a long period of quiet while these guys get their next attacks ready. 50 minutes gone in this game, and goodness gracious me, lots of twists and turns. Fiasco now working on more standoff tactics. I'm surprised he's not just prioritizing everything into that Duke production. He gets that up and then surely switch to the Novak Center. Is he having power issues? I mean, yeah, he's leeching off Rye guys, so he's wanting to get another fusion reactor up. You can see all of the criticisms from teammates. Janus really not happy with his choice of unit production at some point during this game. And there's no doubt at all by some of the chatter that's been going on. A little bit of salt kicking around. It's what happens, unfortunately, every now and again. Like I said, I did think about disabling the chat. In all honesty, I forgot. But I know some of you enjoy it anyway, so this one's for you. It's all down to personal preference. Hello, what do we got here? Continental Transport picking up Rye guys. Where's he going with that? Up over to behind this hill. No, he's repositioning. Offload command right to the center. And I forget, he's got the Billy nuke upgrade, of course. So this will be an attack attempt. There it goes. Flying nice and high. In towards Purple. What, if anything, will it do? Doesn't dish out a huge amount of damage compared to the proper nukes. But you can see the impact on all of the shield gens that it's had. And immediately, Yellow Fruit responds by throwing down lots of tactical missile defense. I don't blame him. You can bet there's more of those incoming. And wisely, Rye's guys just evacs that comm back out. Keeps him out of danger, and then he's just going to continue to do this, perhaps dropping it back in once again for another shot at Yellow Fruit. Needs to be a little bit careful. Yellow Fruit doesn't actually have any Omni, so he's completely blind beyond that radar line. And this time, tactical missile defenses take care of the missile. And it looks like Yellow Fruit is ready for another attack. He's got 2 Ethotas in there. He's got a bunch of lightning tanks. He's got a lot of support commanders. And we can afford to move that back to normal time, I think, for this. Duke finally completes. How is Fiasco dealing with the power situation? Well, he's keeping his nose above water. That's the important thing. He's floating an enormous amount of mass. Desperately needs to get some more build capacity together. Maybe some more drones. He ought to use up most of it. He's still not depleting it, even with all of those drones working on the Novaks. He could get a lot of these up very quickly indeed with that spare eco he's got. He's not building much else with it. And now Yellow Fruit under Tech 3 artillery attack. Could do with some more shield coverage up around the back of his base. He's got some vulnerable reactors exposed at the back there. A Fat Boy makes its way to the center from Rye Guys, who moves forward and uses that Billy Nuke one more time on the encroaching units in the center. That's more or less depleted the support commander's shields, and they immediately get to work on more TMD, tactical missile defense. Tech 1 bombers brought in to harass. Fat Boy holding position for the time being and raining artillery down on the inbound support commanders. Look at those lightning tanks swat those air superiority fighters out of the sky. They are a wonderful piece of tech, also capable of hitting at ground units as well. Where's that Novak center? There it is. He hasn't actually issued an order on that satellite yet. Really should bring that in. Could use that defensively at the very least. Tetra thinks that purple has won. I'm not so sure about this. Ethota's very badly damaged. One of them down. Ion Storm about to unleash. The other one really badly damaged on about 21,000 HP. Out goes the Billy Nuke. Where is the commander? Oh, he's up over here from a position of relative safety. Down goes the other one. Billy Nuke connects, and all we're left with is support commanders that have been drawn after the Fat Boy, potentially in range of the Ravagers up here. And that will surely be the end of it. Now, it did look like a strong, solid attack, but it was always going to be difficult. Yellow Fruit has spammed up a nuke launcher, but it's out of shield coverage. If that gets spotted or if that gets hit by a wayward shell, that will go down in an instant. Last few support commanders getting torn apart by Ravager fire and by the defense satellites. And at the cusp of an hour, I think I'm ready to call this now. I don't see a way for him to get back in this. He's sticking with the same old plan. but it's just not going to work. He's hoping he's going to get a nuke out. But chances of that once that satellite gets up there. Oh, he's not going to need to wait for it. Look at that perfectly placed shell. Probably not helping his confidence, the barrage of criticism that he's getting from his teammates. I think we can afford to speed that up once again. Satellite locks onto vulnerable targets, of which there are many over here. Quantum Gateway soon to be a thing of the past. And we're soon to get a second Novak satellite out as well. Fat Boy's under construction down in the bottom left-hand corner. There's no way any attack is going to win through on the ground. I would be surprised, to be honest, if he gets an opportunity to make another attack. Currently he's now in full-on turtle mode, and that's something he's just not going to win. He's on 300 mass. He's facing a 400 mass guy and a 200 mass guy who's just going to continue to increase the amount of standoff weaponry pressure that he applies. Where are we? Almost at that second satellite. We're at 3 Fat Boys down in the bottom left-hand corner. It looks like they're on the move now, so probably brought out to be used offensively. Oh, would you look at that? And the shields collapse. And surely that's time for a capitulation. And look at that, there's the Control K. And, yeah, a sad, drab end to what was otherwise a pretty thrilling Average Joes throughout. Also, a bit of a shame about all of the BM in local chat, but that is just something that goes with the territory, unfortunately, in terms of gaming. And you never know, perhaps by highlighting it, maybe that might correct people's behavior. But anyway, nonetheless, hope you enjoyed it, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, if you feel so inclined, please check out the Patreon. Some 37 casts, I think there, more arriving all the time. Privileged content for a mere $1 a week. Please like, subscribe, ring notifications to make sure you don't miss future videos here on YouTube. But until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.